Yeah, they have spikes.
They're like shish-kebab you to death.
I personally think that they're a combination of a spider and a hairy butthole. What would you do in the event of an alien invasion?
Tell us, what can you actually do?
Do you have a plan? Do you have rations? Do you have food? Do you have guns?
Are you a prepper?
Yeah, I mean, this might happen. Season 2 of Invasion started on Apple TV Plus, and I might be just as surprised as you are that they got a second season.
So is it worth watching?
Stick around to hear our reactions to for the first episode of Season 2, and we'll also give you ratings on 3 categories: acting, visuals, and the storyline. Hi everybody, I'm Lex.
And I'm Tony.
And this is the Lex and Tony Show. We talk about our favorite shows and some that are not really favorites, but we figure that if we didn't like the shows, maybe other people won't. And we want to save people time. That's how we give back.
We're very generous.
If you like our content, make sure you subscribe to our channel and like our videos. For those of you who haven't watched season 1, then I don't know. Good for you, maybe. If you haven't watched it, we might as well give you a little bit of a gist. The show was created by Simon Kinberg. He made some X-Men movies. I didn't watch any of them, and apparently, according to the online trolls, it's a good thing. I saved some time because it wasn't any good. If you know about this, drop a comment below if you agree. The name kind of gives it away as to what is going on here, right? Aliens invaded Earth. Season 1 opens up with an attack of some sort. We see some soldiers in the desert that get attacked. We see some crop circles. We see a lot of ambiguous signs that I guess are iconic for Alien. And then we follow different characters. We follow a family. There's a storyline of how the guy was unfaithful to his wife, and that wasn't really interesting. But then we have the Japanese communication specialist who works with the military. She's an important character apparently because she ends up communicating with the aliens at some point.
And she's like in love with this astronaut.
Yeah, there's this nice little lesbian storyline there. So if you're into that, you'll enjoy that maybe. I
think that was probably maybe the more interesting part of it. The more exotic part of it was what was happening in Japan.
Well, he's into that. All right.
No, I thought that was a good angle. I like anything Japanese is fun.
There's a group of kids that were on a field trip. The teacher gets killed and they're stranded and left alone. And then we have a little bit of a Lord of the Flies kind of situation with some kids being bullies and trying to be in charge. It's kind of annoying, to be quite honest. But then there's this kid who has seizures, and you can see some pictures, and he draws pictures that actually look like the aliens, which we don't get to see the aliens until the very end of the season.
Right.
So we follow the parents, we follow the kids, we follow the other kids, we follow the lady in Japan.
We follow the soldier.
Yeah. Eventually, the American president, which was a female.
I think they were thinking Hillary would be president.
So she comes out and she tells people like the basic speech, like, we're gonna get through this together and whatever. I don't know why I did a Bill Clinton. We're gonna get through this together. I did not have sexual relations with our woman. Not a lot happens in the first season, up until the end when things start to pick up.
And they realize it's an invasion.
Yeah, we start seeing the aliens, which I personally think that they're a combination of a spider and a hairy butthole. And it's like morphs.
Fractals. They're like fractals.
Yeah, they have spikes.
Around. Yeah.
And they're out to kill everything they see that's moving. Like literally everything that moves.
They're like shish-kebab you to death.
Yes.
So there's some kind of psychic connection between the Japanese woman and an astronaut who gets blown up in the space station by the aliens. So something happens there that connects them. This is like the gateway to bringing down the big ship in space. So, but this is like a very mysterious side of the show, which I personally don't like, because it's all like psychic powers and psychic communication, and it's not very sci-fi.
So that's season 1. You're caught up. You're welcome.
Well, except season 1 though, you realize that when they destroyed the giant spaceship, that was just a scout ship.
Season 2 picks up 4 months after the invasion, and people are still escaping. Now this time we see a large number of these hairy booty aliens.
And they're actually just like out rampaging and killing people.
Killing everything. But apparently, if you set them on fire, they're done.
So the Japanese lady, Hinata, starts killing.
She's not Hinata. Hinata's dead. She's the lesbian.
Oh, so Mitsuki.
So she's killing the aliens with fire.
Yeah, she's like throwing bombs at them. But nobody else seems to figure that out, though.
No,
only she.
She's the only one that's throwing things at her.
Everyone else is like too busy dying.
Everybody's too busy running away, getting in cars and getting out of the car. I mean, it's bizarre. So this first episode, again, I told you, I don't know why they got a second season. They did, and the first episode already does not have me. It's like I'm scoffing every 5 seconds. I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, and then you have the kids. Now you go switch back and forth between the mom with the kids, and they're all like escaping. The whole episode, they're obnoxious, getting into trouble, and I guess driving the plot.
The last thing we see is that they find an even greater connection to the aliens, that they communicate directly to them, and that we have an Elon Musk type of guy who's in charge of the whole counteroffensive operation to defeat the aliens. But there's some undertones of what's happening in America in terms of having militias and having certain people that are just suspicious of the government.
There's a lot of distrust.
There's a lot of distrust of one another. Like people don't trust each other. People are stealing to survive. It feels kind of realistic as to how things would unfold.
My take on it is it feels like the pandemic. You start seeing this society sort of start breaking apart.
Yeah, well, at this point, if you think about it, like if we were invaded by aliens, would governments really matter at this point? You know, if everybody's on their own.
They really are on their own.
They're on their own.
Reminds me of like Interstellar. Society has sort of collapsed. The government is collapsed, but you still have NASA like secretly working somewhere, like kind of like out on their own.
You know what's scary with that though is that apparently I was reading this, that the creators of the show consulted government agencies in America for how they would respond to alien threats, specifically NASA.
Or SETI also. So
if you think about it, if that's true, and the whole show is based on how governments would react, it doesn't look very good for us. So to wrap this review of season 2, episode 1 of Invasion, we'll go through some quick categories and our ratings for each of those categories. The categories are visuals,
acting,
and the storyline. What do you think of the acting?
It's got annoying characters, I'm sorry, but the acting could be a lot better.
But I think you have to keep in mind that the actors can only do so much with what they're given, right? With the writing. So I think the writing is a little bit weak.
The dialogue is really weak.
And the pacing. Everybody that I've seen online agrees that the pacing is really slow. The characters don't have a lot of chemistry, to be quite honest. We lose some characters that I honestly was rooting for them to go.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. We got the kids that, you know, I think the mom is one of the best actors.
For sure.
And I think she's ready to give them up.
Yeah. Here, please, shish-kebab my kids.
For acting, I will give it a 2 out of 5.
What? I was going to give it a 2 out of 5.
All right, so then it's a 2 out of 5.
Okay,
right.
We're in agreement.
So visuals. Visuals are pretty okay, although there's so many scenes that you think are irrelevant to what the show is about. But again, the show apparently is centered around human reactions to the invasion. So it's honestly going to center around like relationships and their quests for survival and food. Yeah. So the visuals, whenever you see things regarding the aliens, then they're pretty interesting.
The spaceship looks really good.
I would say the show is a little dark.
On the screen, it looks very dark.
Okay. So for visuals, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5.
I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right. So for the storyline, again, it is so slow. I'm waiting for it to pick up.
Right now, it's very vague and very scant. There's not a lot of meat on the story. I'm getting like old alien movies like The Abyss vibes, but that's tired. This is like 80s, 90s, you know. Give me something from 2020s.
Yeah, so the storyline, I would give it a 1 out of 5.
I would give it a 2. Because I'm hoping that it's gonna get better, but I'm ready to lower the stars if it doesn't.
Okay, so I guess we'll keep watching it, which I wasn't aware of. I was about to give up and not watch it anymore, but we'll do a review once we get into the season. Not every episode. I'm not that interested.
There's 10 episodes this season.
Yes, 10 episodes. So, you know, that's what made it possible for me to get through the first season. I'm like, it's just 10 episodes. After I watched 3, I'm like, might as well finish it and see where it goes. And then I actually found the aliens, and the aliens are my favorite. I want to become one of them and just Kill off the characters that I don't like.
You like go chasing. There's like a separate subplot.
If you like our content, make sure you subscribe to our channel and like our videos.